Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our Game of Thrones campaign. After the fire, we are back for another fortnightly game in which I put these beautiful human beings through their juicy fruit paces. Just came up with that off the cuff. Isn't that cool? We're all feeling the week a little bit. It's like not is it May Day bank holiday on Monday? It's something like that in the UK. We have we have a couple of long weekends in May, and this is our first one. So I guess if me and I particularly are feeling a bit kind of like smooched out.
Bank
But
holidays, still not used to them.
yeah, it's kind of crazy, isn't it? But yeah, we are here to enjoy once more our time in Westeros, where there are no bank holidays and only turmoil. There we go. All right, let's chat to people first. On my overlay, I have to look that way, but no. First on my overlay is Jonathan Fry. Hello, my friend. What's up?
Hello. I feel like we've had a nice bank holiday. We had a nice tournament. We had a nice trial. We had a nice camp. I feel like my character is much more well rested than I am. So I'm looking forward to after last week in the bombshell. I'm looking forward to finding out more about that. Like, what's going on? Is it time? Is it time? Is it happening? I hope so. And yeah,
Yeah, fair.
other than that, I'm good. I've been doing stuff. I've been making it through, and I've been looking forward all week to getting to play today. So I'm super happy to be here with friends.
And I think this is the first time we've appeared on After the Fire together. Now that your adventure is out in the Fallout core rule book.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think so.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
maybe
Fallout.
only.
It was like a month ago
It's yeah.
that
It's
that
not. I don't
it
think
came
it's quite
out.
been a month that we kind of launched it. Yeah, yeah. But or maybe just over actually. Maybe. But yeah, I don't think we've
Wonder.
actually been on together since then. So
No. So
thank you,
yeah, I've
because it's a
been.
fucking awesome adventure, and it's a good way to
Yeah.
show off the game as well.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm really happy with the way that the core book for Fallout's turned out. Everybody did an amazing job on all the different sections. People who are playing the game, in the community, the TTRPG community, seem to really, really enjoy it, which is always awesome to hear. And
Yeah,
uh, I've been looking forward to Fallout for a long time because there's not really, sort of setting TTRPG that's really kind of like it. It's pretty unique. It's got its own flavor and voice. It's very specific, and I think it's a lot of fun. So it's been cool to see people react so positively towards it because it's
mm,
still like something even now that I'm working on a lot, obviously, and
yeah,
Sam,
yeah,
get
yeah.
involved. And so yeah, it's been cool. It's been very cool.
Yeah, thanks so much, man. And it's been a long time coming too, right? I mean, the game span off of their idea was let's use a tabletop system for this video game, so it kind of has its roots in it as well. So we've come full circle
Hmm.
finally, and it's like
Oh yeah,
the
I had never
projects
thought
I
about
would
that,
have
but that's
killed
wild.
to,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a project I would have killed to like be working on. Uh, God, when did Fallout 3 go out? 10 years ago or something. And now I have, and it's just phenomenal, like absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, so thanks for working on it with me. And you too, V.
Yeah,
With all the
yeah.
NPCs.
I did a bunch of stuff on Fallout here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's also my dream project because I got into Fallout long before I was playing RPGs, and I remember after my first session playing RPGs, I was like, oh, I want this, but I want Fallout, and I never dreamed that I would be working on it, but I did, and it's fun. I'm also super excited about the Black Cats trailer that dropped today.
We have that. Yeah.
Very
Brownie
excited
points to
about
you
that.
for mentioning it.
I will admit it's purely just because I'm super happy that it all turned out looking. Charlie did an awesome job on all the visuals and stuff, and I was very
Yeah.
excited to do all the weird spooky vocals. That
And
was
they do
fun.
their job. It's great. I love it. Absolutely love it. Music is often my way into games as well. So it just really like sets the tone. It's cool. And like Pope, people are already going a little bit mad for it, which is good. And actually a very subtle hint to what could be coming. So yeah. Yeah, we're very excited to be teasing it. Very, very excited. After having, done the spy game, obviously we've got to now try and follow up with our second album. So here we go. Right?
Oh, does this mean I have to make an album cover too? Uh,
Only if you want to.
Susie, we're going to talk later.
There we go. Cool. Yeah. What else have you been up to? Or anything to shout out, I guess. I don't know.
Not really anything to shout out, but keep an eye on my Twitter and Twitch, because at some point, as soon as my package arrives, it's sitting just down the road in a delivery office.
Oh.
I'm going to be modding some Game Boys that I bought because I have a new hobby again. So if you want to see me poke around the inside of retro consoles, keep an eye out for that, I guess.
Do you know, I might. It's now I'm old. It's right up my street.
Yeah, I've got an emulator to build in a GBA case, a GBA to mod with a cool fancy screen so that I don't have to put a light over the top, and I've just got a Game Boy Color to reshell as well. So
Now you're talking.
yeah,
That's my generation. There you go.
it's yeah, it's yeah. Oh, there we go. It's
Nice.
proper old school AA batteries. Like I own those anymore.
And you were playing Pokemon anyway on stream, right? On an emulator?
Yeah, I'm playing Pokemon Crystal. We just got a legendary. So
Oh, nice.
Yeah, didn't even realize it happened.
I never played Crystal. I think I was speaking to Susie and James at the time, and I was just like, when was this? Because it looked in that kind of 8-bit style. I had no idea. I never
the
played
Game Boy
it.
Color. So it's the equivalent of like Yellow, where they like blended the two games and fixed all the problems.
Right, yeah. Okay, no, that makes sense. Man, playing it on the Switch was a bizarre experience as well. Like where the new one is, Shield or something.
Oh, the newest one I played was Pearl, because that was my first Pokemon game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I came to it late. It was the DS Lite was already a thing.
Yeah. No, I think we've got one of those knocking around as well, to be fair. Cool. All right. Oh yeah, I'll look out for that. That'd be cool. And Susie, Scourge of the Seas.
Wow, hurtful, but true. I am Scourge of the Seas. Hi.
How you doing?
I'm all right. So one fun thing today, it's been officially 1 year since I moved to Canada. On the 1st of May, 2020, at roughly 9:30 a.m., I was the first person to immigrate to Canada in May. So
Congrats.
there you go.
And you're
It's been a
still
year.
there.
And I'm still here. They haven't deported me yet. So I must be
Good
doing
work.
something right.
Yeah.
So,
Doing all right.
It's pretty
It's
good.
flown
Got some
by.
celebratory Tims.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Got it early rather than like 2/3 of the way through the session.
Yeah. I need to be like caffeinated, right? Like get this energy up for
No,
the
that's fair.
happening that's coming.
Happening. Fucking hell. Oh man. But you're still doing your stuff. Playing Street Fighter this
still
week.
Trucking on with my streams. Yeah, playing Street Fighter this week. Turns out I actually really like Street Fighter. I'd only ever played Street Fighter 2 Turbo, I think, on the Mega Drive, which is the Genesis to Americans, as a kid. And I distinctly remember leaving my Mega Drive on for like 3 days straight because I couldn't defeat Bison. So I couldn't turn it off because I had to defeat him, right? So this is my first time coming back to it in 20 something years, and yeah, it's really fun. I got my first perfect online today, so you girls smashing it.
Shit, wow.
Yeah, so
Good
other
job.
than that, doing Black Cat stuff, as V said, with our new funky trailer. So I'm going to be art directing that particular product, and I'm like very excited for it. We've got some cool stuff already, and I can't wait to talk about it more because like the teaser's out, and I'm like, whoa, okay, we can acknowledge it, but there's still more stuff we can't say, which is kind of a little bit painful, but it's going to be worth the wait.
James will send a man around my house with a gun if I talk about it any more than that. And we've got connections in Canada, I'm sure, somehow.
He's got a direct line to Justin, so if I say anything, my Tims are cut off. So I've got to be
That sounds even worse than my gig.
It's awful. I'm telling you, I don't know how I'll cope, so I have to be, careful with what I say.
I the only one that hasn't been threatened into silence?
Maybe.
I mean, no, James would never do such a thing.
Wait, now apparently he's sending you around my house if I say anything, according to Twitch chat. That makes
Right.
sense.
That's
That makes sense.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
Good energy.
Yeah, good stuff. Cool. I don't know. I don't have much news, I guess, apart from still doing the stuff with the Modiphius, and about to get my ass whooped on Crusader Queens on Monday by Sweden, a subjugation-hungry Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
I think the prompt literally said, "You are weak and I am strong." I was like, "Fuck you."
Sweden has no fucking chill. Sweden did not come to play. It's come to snatch that crown, Sam. It's time to lip sync for your life.
Shit. As long as it's to a song I know, we're good. But anyway. Cool. All right. Let's get to it. Where's my session? There we go. So this is season 5, episode 5. The Head of the Dragon. Miria.
Why? Okay.
What was that thing you were saying? It's always when you're a first character, something's gonna happen. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, here it comes, I guess.
Here it comes. Let me just buckle in. Okay,
right.
I'm ready.
We're gonna find you on the road, and actually across a set of mountains in the kind of northeasterly portion of Dawn. They overlook the Tor, a river whose estuary sits the keep of Jourdain's house, as he is Lord of the Tor. As you're working your way through those mountains, you and a group of Prince Marin Martell and higher lordlings of Dawn and of the Seven Kingdoms are off to scout, and the word is possibly parley with the force that is there to try and ascertain. Well, they pretty much think they know their intent, but really it's to try and get an idea of what they've got behind them and what they could accomplish. Davon, your Dornish contact that set you up with this plot to kill the prince back at Fox Hollow, notified you pretty quickly back at Sunspear that from the Queen's perspective, there is a very quick change of plan. If the Blackfyres are here, and of course they threaten the crown, they threaten her directly. And so the plot now is to get as involved with the scouting ahead in possibly quashing this second rebellion, if it is such a thing, and to report back to her as quickly as possible. You don't know whether you are accompanied by any fellow plotters. Davon is not here. So you could imagine, or you could ascertain, that you're acting alone in this. But I could imagine that, unless you specifically don't want it to be the case, that Nikos could be with you here. And there are several Sands who are here, who formed part of that baggage train of the Queen's to Sunspear, that are here to...
I like the idea that we formed our own like little unit. We are literally the Sands of Dawn. Like, it's our little unit.
Yeah, absolutely. And so with that little unit and a few other retinues of these lords, Prince Martell is accompanied by the Bloodraven, Lord Illyrian, which is the Lord of God's Grace, Sir Dagos Dolt, the Lemonwood Knight, and the sands that we described. So Prince Maron we know obviously in the Bloodraven 2, but Lord Illyrian is the Lord of the Wells for Dawn. It's kind of a stewardship kind of title that it doesn't really have a direct comparison with the other kingdoms. Sir Dagos Dolt is Lord Maron's not master of arms, marshal, basically, his kind of general. So of course he's here to understand, what the force might comprise of, what they're going to do about, combating them, that kind of thing. The mood so far has turned suspicious. The retinues, the knights, the guards, even between the 4 high nobles that are here, eyes are turning to each other to see what kind of reaction there is between their force, at least. Everyone, of course, is loyal to the crown and to the prince, but that doesn't stop the suspicious eyes on everyone. Just like the Seven Kingdoms were a few years ago, everyone is looking at each other and suspecting each other. Brothers could turn against sisters. The sands could, consume themselves. It could, this feels like a powder keg waiting to go off. On this journey, is there anything that you would like to do? Is there any info you'd like to get? Is there anyone you'd like to talk to?
I would like to unmute to begin with. I would like to find out, if I can, if there's any information about Jourdain. Has anyone seen him, heard from him since the Blackfyres landed? Is he putting out an SOS, or is he suspiciously quiet? Because Myria knows who his affiliation is, but she's trying to dig, see if other people know what his affiliation is.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Did you want to try and get this from someone in particular, or did you want to do it in a more general way, the all kind of streetwisey way?
I kind of want to do it in the least suspicious way possible. As if Myria is, let's say that she's heading up this unit. She's assumed informal command of the unit. Yeah. So maybe she's speaking to the marshal in terms of like, for battle plans, for coordination. If this goes wrong, have we heard from Jourdain? Like, she's trying to get a strategist view of what they're walking into.
Okay. Yeah, nice. Let's make this a quick intrigue. So if you can roll persuasion for me. I'll check out.
Not marksmanship. That's not going to work.
Not that.
What focus of persuasion?
It depends how you want to approach things.
I think she'll be pretty direct. She's not trying to couch it in like flowery language or anything. She's like, look, for the strategy, for what we're walking into, what is what what's the intel?
Straight up convinced, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Doop-a-doo. Okay, persuasion. Let me just make sure I got nothing for that. No, I don't. Okay. Oh my god. Roll 20. Hello.
Oof. 7. Oof. We just had a quick heads up that we're not in a category. We should probably do that. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Fabi, all right. With a 7, it's not that he is suspicious, but he does say that we are not sure. We have heard nothing from Jourdain. Either he has been captured, or he is taking part in this. And we need to ascertain that.
And what if he is taking part in it?
And you're in the war tent right now, I could imagine. And it's a pretty ramshackle war tent. It's basically like three meters, kind of 10 feet by 10 feet on each side. It's chucked up overnight and it's thrown down in the day, and you ride quickly as you can towards the tour. And moving through these mountains is taking a bit slower. This isn't quite the Red Mountains, and it's kind of, a very kind of random peaks and troughs and almost lots of cliff faces and that kind of thing. It's more passable, but the heat of dawn still beats down on you. So it's still quite hot and very dry in here. But Bloodraven is sat in the corner. And so Dolt, as you ask that, looks over very, very briefly for just a second towards Bloodraven, and then says quite dramatically that, well, if that is the case, then he will be tried as a traitor and killed, most like.
Well, I assumed that would be the natural outcome. I was just merely questioning his complement. What are his troops? What is his strength? What is he adding to the Blackfyres?
It's actually Bloodraven that speaks up at this point, and he looks as if he's just been kind of sitting and just kind of a bit kind of tired out by the sun. Within the tent here, he's actually taken his hood down, whereas in the heat of the day, and if he's anywhere outside, because of his very pale complexion, he kind of keeps his hood up, keeps in as much shade as is absolutely possible, barely taking off robes and taking his hood down. So he looks like he was just kind of like just a bit too kind of heat stroked or exhausted or something, but he slowly raises his head up and he opens his eyes, and you look into his one red eye, and then you can see that on the other side he doesn't wear a patch or anything, but he has had an eye plucked out at the Battle of Redgrass, I think, and so he wears that scar and he wears that socket with pride in a kind of strange way. But he looks at you with his one eye, and he says, "A good compliment of Garrison." Sorry, he's not Dornish. He's from the Riverlands. Fuck me.
From Norfolk, then.
From Norfolk, yeah.
No,
from Birmingham. No, the Reach is Norfolk for sure. It's all undulating fields. Anyway. Yeah, he says, and it's quite kind of almost mathematical. He says, a good complement of Garrison, near 100 strong. Another 50 sand steeds with men atop them. Other than that, we do not know for now.
And should they hunker down, are we prepared for a siege?
This group is not prepared for a siege. We are there to try and do more to understand who has landed, what complement of soldiers they have, before His Grace, the King, and the Lord Prince here can decide what to do.
Of course. You must forgive me for being so dour. I just always have to prepare for the worst case scenario.
Of course, as we always like to do. As he kind of references your birthright, your kind of birthplace or, illegitimacy, essentially, by saying that.
Miri in her head is like, don't try and be like, yo, bastards with me, motherfucker. Like inwardly, her skin is like, ooh. But yeah, I mean, this for her has been as much trying to get as much intel about what our side have as much as what their side have. So, she asked a couple of more questions about, should things go terribly, how quickly can we react? Do we have forces, reinforcements coming, that kind of thing? You know, she's in full like commander mode.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Do you know what I think actually? And it's kind of taking a leaf out of the chapters we see of the Watch when they're out on an actual ranging. Like they'll drag along some old maester or one of the stewards with them who just doesn't want to be there, but basically has like a cage of ravens on the back of like a little trailer. And you've done exactly that, I think. So, and I gave you, as I promised, I've popped the Prince Martell and his court up in the thing as well.
Thank you.
And so his poor old maester Gunthor is with you as well, and is being hit probably in the corner too, complaining of his like sore thighs and like he's not used to this at all. But he is a Dornishman, so you know, used to the heat, not complaining of that necessarily, but he's in the corner of this tent just kind of like probably having taken some kind of like damp towels to his legs to just kind of try and cool him down a little bit. As this kind of as the sun starts to probably set over this scene, as the tent's just gone up. But you wanted to know, so basically they can react basically by sending a message.
Gotcha.
But I could imagine that. I'll say a character. I am here, and His Grace the Prince is here. More as a political show of strength than anything else. If the prince is here, then he's taking this very seriously, and it could be that we need to tell them we have a force just beyond the mountains, or that we have a host amassing at the Scourge, for example. I wouldn't want anything to jeopardize such a play. And he just stares at you with that one red eye.
I think Miria holds his gaze, and it's taking a lot of her like inner courage to hold that gaze. And then she says again, he's still holding his eye. And what if the worst should happen? What if we walk right into an ambush, and the prince and yourself are captured or killed? What then?
There are ways and means. Old ways.
You'll have to forgive me, Your Grace.
Yeah. So adults like, yes, well,
So Miria is like, I think she's a little bit like, okay. And I think she twigs. She's not going to get a lot out of Bloodraven. Like he's been in this game too long. So she gives a very polite bow, and says, "If there's anything else you need, I'll be with the other Sands."
You don't get like any response from Bloodraven, but Sir Dagos gives you a kind of nod, and goes back to looking over some letters and charts of this part of Dawn.
And Miria makes her way back to where the other Sands are, and she's all like trying to shake off that Bloodraven ick.
Yeah, Nikos approaches you very quickly and he asks, "So, what are we to do? What is the plan?"
Well, according to the Lord Bloodraven, we have to put our faith in the old gods.
Is that what he said?
Well, he said, well, I asked, if everything goes wrong, if you and the prince are captured or killed, what do we do? And he's like, oh, well, there are means and ways.
Yeah, and he shakes as well. Like,
yeah.
Ugh.
He just kept staring at me the whole time.
Yeah, he's wanted to do that.
It's unnerving. Don't like it. But one of the gambits, as it were, is that we are to pretend that there is a force very close by in case anything happens.
But there are like 20 of us here. There to be...
I know, we have to pretend that on the other side of the scourge there is another great army ready to come and smash the Blackfyre pretenders.
Oh, they will
Why
know.
we send ravens desperately to the capital asking for help.
They will know of this. They will understand the rules. It will not work, I don't think.
Nope.
Well...
So, if it does all go wrong, then we run, yes?
Sure. Yes.
Okay. We stick together,
Yes.
we make it out.
Yeah. And then as you walk on, you walk past the kind of Targaryen retinue who are here with Bloodraven. And they're not dealing well with their half-plate armor in this heat, and particularly the black enamel on a lot of it. And so they're kind of, for the evening, sat around, a lot of them exhausted, passing around wineskins or water skins, just to rehydrate from the, double quick riding that everyone's having to be done. As you walk by, though, it's almost as if every single pair of eyes is watching the two of you as you walk by. And while he's trying his best to kind of ignore it and kind of bluff it off, Nikos says to you quietly as you kind of make your way just past the majority of them, "You'll see now they look at us. Every single one."
Mm-hmm. I've known those looks for a long time. Ever since I was a small girl.
Makes me want to just stab one of the other Sands, make it look like them, just for the sake of it. Putting the suspicion away from us.
Well, while that would be a tempting plan, and some of the other Sands have really been annoying me, it's probably not for the best. We've just got to stick together, watch each other's backs. But I wouldn't trust any of them. Hell, I wouldn't trust Mead, but here we are.
And what about you? I mean, Maron is here.
I am forbidden from carrying out my original plan, for the time being, at least.
I could understand. Things have changed very quickly.
But he's right there. So close.
Well, you have your orders, I guess.
Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to lie. If things do go badly, in the heat of the battle, an accident might happen.
Well,
and then for a minute, her face goes a little bit serious, and she says, "Speaking of the battle, though, are you all right?"
Yeah.
She gives him that, like, really? Look.
Well, awareness, empathy.
Okay. Awareness, empathy. Boom, boom. 16.
Yeah, it's a good roll. Yeah, he looks obviously preoccupied.
Mm-hmm.
That, he's having to face another Blackfyre force. Face or see. But either way, it's kind of troubling him, It's playing on his mind for sure.
Maria she almost goes to put a hand on his cheek and then sort of chickens out the last second and puts it on his shoulder and says, "Look, if things get too hard, too rough, you leave the fighting to me, okay?"
I'll be fine. and he's trying to kind of shake it off and shakes your hand off and tries to be the big guy.
Yeah. And she just sort of like lets him do that. All right, well, we should probably go rest up as well as we can. We've got another long ride soon.
Is there anything else you want to do on the journey, do you think?
Honestly, on the journey, I don't really think there's much you can do because we are the scouting force that's going to find out more about the Blackfyres.
Yeah.
She's tried to squeeze as much info as she can about what our military complement is, but she's probably not going to get much further with that. So I think she's just focusing on what's in front of her, you know?
Yeah, sure thing. All right. Let's go over then to what I have next. Mara. You are on a journey as well. This time south down the road. I believe maybe still continuing the Rose Road. Down from Highgarden south towards Old Town. With you is obviously Samuel. You have Gregor as well. And you are also accompanied by Hunter, your kind of scout guard that you've kind of taken in a little bit as your kind of, not companion, it's kind of cadre or whatever it's called.
Kind of, yeah. I think Samuel kind of employed him as a kind of personal guard kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And just for you, V, he has brought along with him his collie dog that's bouncing around and sniffing at every shrub and every passing horse that crosses your path here down the road. And he whistles occasionally and calls after it. And please feel free to name it or chat to name it. Like, I haven't thought of that. I just literally wrote Hunter has a dog in my notes.
This is so much better than I could have hoped for.
But yeah, along the road.
I think, Don, we can't hear you if you were just talking.
No.
No.
Oh no. Keep trying. We'll give you a second.
Call it. It's called Tetley.
It's called Tetley. Okay. Okay. And yeah, I mean, this affords you an opportunity to speak to Samuel, speak to the other two. You also have a guest with you, effectively, which is Costain, who Samuel invited to basically travel with you, as his house is actually like past Old Town along the coast.
I think Mara would want to talk with Samuel as they're riding when Don gets his audio back. But I think otherwise she might, while we wait, she might have a quick catch up with Costain while maybe Samuel's having a word with Hunter and Gregor about something a bit further back along the road.
Sure thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, she'll probably ride up beside him on her, because she's probably riding with Samuel and breaks off to ride up towards Costain.
Yeah.
Oh, the weather is good today. She makes it sound like she's purposely making the most awkward introduction into this conversation. Just because they know each other, they have spoken several times. So
yeah. And I am thankful to the gods for it, my lady.
Riding in bad weather is no fun. I found that out a few years ago.
Riding at all for any particular length of time is not as equally not as fun, unfortunately.
Yes, I learnt very quickly. I'm used to carriages and short rides. You spend a year up and down the coast of Westeros. You learn very quickly how to ride properly.
Yes, no, of course. We had a thing. Oh, a couple of bonus dice to me. All right.
James is here to kill Tetley.
James coming in to now that Costain's entered the scene, give me some extra dice. Yeah. But he is, riding along, giving you the pleasantries, for sure. This is the kind of courteous diplomat that he is.
I think for her, she doesn't have really anything to say to Costain. It's more of a thing. She knows he's always up to something. And last time he kind of told her a little bit about what he was up to. So she's just kind of making casual conversation to see if he broaches anything interesting. But if he doesn't, she will just just gradually let him take the pace off with his retinue and go back and just wait for Samuel to catch up. She's just probing to see if he comes out with anything interesting based on, I think the last proper conversation they had was him being like, we might be doing a bit of treason. Way back at Highgarden, way back in the day during the trial.
Yeah. I tell you what, he does have a bit of an agenda, actually. So let's roll off for... We heard that, Don.
Yeah.
You're back. Yeah, nice one.
I want to put in real quick that it's important to me that we made sure that Sir Cluck is safe from Tetley.
Sir Cluck, are you bringing Sir Cluck along with you?
Absolutely.
Okay, so it's
Gregor's in charge of taking care of Sir Cluck.
It's strapped the back of Gregor's mule in a cage that's just big enough to keep it, and then when you camp for the night, you could like let it out, and it can peck around and eat and stuff. All right, but yeah, V, give me intrigue initiative down this road.
Status breeding, right? I know how this works. 15. It's not bad, actually.
That is a 13. So actually, yeah, not doing that fantastically on all that. All right, cool. Just reminding myself of his benefits and stuff. Cool. All right. So you get to go first. And I guess, just think of your objective as loose as it might be, just, if it's just like discover information about what he's planning and stuff like that.
Yeah, she wants to, because she knows like the last time she knows he was, because he told her about kind of the tax things when he had the meeting with the Lords. So she's just wondering what he's up to at the minute. So I think she'll just wait for the conversation to go silent after the pleasantries, wait for his, the retinue to kind of move on as you get that natural kind of slow down as you're talking to someone.
Mm.
Well, the last time we spoke, you had some rather grand plans. How's that all going for you?
Slowly. But you can't rush these things.
No, the rushed plans are always the ones that go wrong very, very quickly.
And how about you? This is not the road to Horn Hill. This is not the road to Old Oak.
I mean, I see no reason why I would be returning to Old Oak to sit behind walls and mope. And I'm not going to sit behind walls at Horn Hill and do sewing all day. I go where he goes, and she kind of nods backwards towards Samuel.
And the realm knows it so as well.
People talk, rumors spread. I see no use in bothering myself with them anymore. If you deny them, people will call you a liar. If you confirm them, people will continue to act outraged as if they haven't been gossiping about the same thing for the last 5 years.
What is that?
That is fireworks from my next door neighbour's garden.
Oh, East London.
Let me close my window 1 second.
That's all right.
It's not going to do much because my microphone is going to pick up everything. I'm sorry.
Nah, that's all right.
Don't even. I'm not going to ask. There's fireworks all year round on this street, I swear.
Yeah. All right. He takes a sip of wine from his wineskin, passes it over to you.
She'll take a sip, and as she passes it back. So what is going on with your grand plans then? You filled me in once. Care to enlighten me again? I haven't heard anything interesting in weeks.
Just that, really. The several lords still do not feel that his lordship is doing a particularly good job of governing this realm. And so, if he will not countenance our requests for aid against any Dornish raids, any bandits from the Red Mountains, either west or north from Dorne, then we'll just have to take matters upon ourselves. We'll just defend ourselves.
I suppose you won't tell me if I ask, but which lords also hold this issue?
Oh, it's well understood by the court of Highgarden. Your favoured Lord Tarly is one of them, I believe. I don't take a personal interest in his budgets and courtly affairs.
Well, I'm not head of House Tarly. I don't get to say which direction things move in. But there are people who believe his lordship is not doing a good job, and there are people who believe his lordship is not doing a good job. Those are the people I'm interested in knowing about.
You say you don't have any influence in where the house is heading, but we can both see it is completely contrary. And he kind of nods his head towards Samuel in front of you, as you know, his inference is that you are essentially leading him down towards Old Town.
Well, not yet, anyway.
Why don't you let's roll some dice as well. Why don't you roll whatever it is you wanted to roll?
I think after him saying that, I think she's interested in finding out. There are obviously, there are lots of people who will be unhappy with Leo Tyrell. That's not a secret. But she's wondering if he might drop a hint as to who some of the lords are that are really not happy. In the sense of people who might be doing more than just complaining, or who would be willing to do more than just complain. So I think really she's going for a charm here. She's playing on that, like, you've told me things before. We've had
in between small folk like beating their carpets along the roadside.
Yeah. Let me see. She gets a one bonus dice persuasion test. Whoops, that's wrong. Sorry, I'm really thrown off by the fireworks.
That's all right. Don't worry about it.
Really trying not to jump because they're so loud through my microphone. 23.
Oof. Wowzers.
With 3 6s in there.
It is a crit. So that is a lot. Now, where's my cheat sheet? There we go. So the critical we've got for the intrigue is hurtful words. Target takes 1 frustration. If they can't take any more frustration, they lose 3 composure instead. So that's fine. He will take a point of frustration, so which means he's on -1 dice penalty for deception and persuasion tests, and from his composure of that, a charm is going to be your persuasion rank times by 3.
12.
4 actually, I think. 12, 17, 2. Oh no, it is 3 degrees.
Yeah, 12.
All right. I'm going to take another point of frustration, which leaves him with Okay. You can see that your kind of questioning is getting a little bit under his skin, even though that he is quite a kind of well-practiced diplomat in a way. But yeah, he is. It seems like it's like ticking him off a little bit, actually, just from the frustration kind of kicking in. And so he is going to try and shake you off with. Let's have a little look at the old techniques here. I think this is convince. That was a charm, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. 22
Oh yeah, for sure.
against your intrigue defense. Is it double your intrigue defense?
Yes.
Ooh. Then I scored 1-6, which gives me a crit. Sharp tongue. You ignore 2 of your opponent's DR. I forgot about DR. Oh, I can put it up to that. Nice. Yes, so I'll ignore 2 of your DR for this hit, and this convince will be... how many degrees of success is it, do you think?
My intrigue defense is 9. So
3 degrees there, I think. Yeah, because it would be 19 would be 3 degrees, and then 24 would be 4 degrees. So 12.
Ooh. I'm gonna have to take some frustration here because that will knock me out otherwise.
Yeah, so each point of frustration you take will ignore your will rank of incoming damage. So like
I will take 1 point of frustration then.
Cool.
Which puts me down to that. Okay. Did I do that right? Yeah, yes. I can do math. Sorry, my brain and things that are numbers right now they're just symbols on a page.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's all good. We're doing well. We're doing well. We got there. He's strangely blunt next, and he asks, "What does it really matter to you, my lady? If you have your man, if you have your place in court, if you don't have to knit."
I think that's the bit that like bothers her. She's fine with the bluntness, but it's that little jabbing comment at the end that is clearly slightly unkind. And I think she takes a moment, and kind of looks away from him, and almost bites her tongue a bit. I suppose it doesn't really matter at all, except that knowledge is power in the Seven Kingdoms. And I have thought that you and I, perhaps while not friends, might be something close to allies. You have helped me once before. I have not forgotten that.
Of course we are allies, my lady, and to your father-in-law, I have been a good friend. But this interest in the game, it doesn't bode well. You may have been introduced to some of it some years ago, but please, no more. And he kind of turns away to you and starts gulping down his wineskin.
I think she just kind of she lets him turn away, and she just still watches him very carefully as she considers what she's doing next. Sometimes it's not about playing the game, Lord Costain. Perhaps you are so used to being in the thick of it that you have forgotten that sometimes it bodes well just to know which direction the winds are blowing.
We can never know which way the winds are blowing. We can just react to it.
to react. You have to know what it is that's happening. And I think she's kind of going for the thing of like, I'm not looking to mess up whatever game you're playing. I just want to know what's happening with the game. That's she's going for that underhand look. I'm not here to fuck with whatever you got going on. I'm not trying to move pieces. I just want to know which pieces you're moving right now.
Yeah. All right.
Can I go for a convince here? She's trying to subtly kind of.
Yep. You
As
absolutely.
blunt as he's being right now.
You absolutely can. Yeah. You will take a -1 dice penalty to this because it's one of his qualities.
Is that, yeah. Okay. One penalty die. So that's 16. She gets a +1, so 17 total.
Yep. Okay. With the 17, that is 2 degrees of success, and that is your will rank again.
So that'll be 8.
Oh right. That. 8. Okay. Oh god, maths again for me. That's right. That's right. He's going to take 1 more point of frustration, and make some really ill kind of figured out metaphor about the wind and about which kind of direction and stuff it's going in. This one is going to be convince, I think. No, actually, there's a bit of a taunt, wasn't it, before? Yeah, it's going to be taunt. So this is going to come off that, and that's going to be the damage potentially. Completely forgotten what I looked at. Okay, cool. Any penalty? Yes, 3. A 12. I got something.
Yeah, that'll hit. My defense is 9, so that's 2 degrees.
It's just 1 degree of success, I think, okay. Right? Because if it's 9, then 14 will be your next. It's in 5s, so yeah, 14 will be your next degree of success. So with 1, he is going to inflict 3 composure damage to you. Just 3.
Right, I'll take that.
All right. Oh man. Oh no.
I'm playing a dangerous game here. Why am I like this?
All right. Well, new round. You can
yeah,
axe and roll
again. She listens to the taunt and she laughs. And she turns to him with this big smile and says, "Never had you down for somebody that instead of an intelligent answer would go straight to that kind of wit. You're better than that. Mathos, come on. We are allies. What you tell me, information flows both ways, you know. And like you said, I am leading the direction of House Tarly, now or in future. I'm sure there's a lot more information that will come my way." She's got this big, like, beaming, charming smile on.
Yeah.
He's probably seen before, like on her wedding day. That day they had breakfast, and she was very nice about things.
Yeah, nice one.
I think she's going to go in for a final convince. Like, come on, you tell me. This will benefit you so much more in the future.
Are you being 100% truthful here?
I think she is. Like, she doesn't.
Okay. I can hold you to it.
She hasn't told him what she'll tell him, just that, you know, that there is an exchange there.
Yeah, right.
She does not trust this man, but she does like him.
Cool.
Because she knows, you know, he has influence.
Yeah. Roll again for me. And remember the frustration penalty dice as well. Yeah. And the convince is -1 dice again because of his
okay.
thing.
Hold on.
We're dropping a 4 in there, maybe?
Yeah, I need to take off 1 dice on that, and then it's +1.
So looking over the roll, there's a 4, a 4, and a 6 in there. So we take the 4 off, leaves you with a 10, which
+1 because she gets +1 to
Oh,
convinced her. So
11.
11 total.
It's not quite enough
Ooh.
to beat his intrigue defense. He actually considers that because I think that's very astute that, you know, he would have somebody who he could like...
She's trying to play off what he said. He's obviously put in his mind that this is a thing, that she's, you know, she has some power with House Tarly, so she's going to use that because he's not wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so he is going to consider. So I've got a couple of bonus dice for next round, but it's your turn to act again.
So I imagine that he's just kind of, he's done that thing where people are just watching, waiting for you to say something.
Mm.
And I think let me have a look here. Is there a thing for, can I use mollify on myself? Or is that for other people?
I don't honestly know. To heal your target's composure, I don't think you can use it on yourself.
Yeah, it's other people, right?
I think so.
I think she's going to play him at his own game, and she's also going to consider. She's gonna.
Okay.
She's just gonna do the thing where he's staring at her, and she's just staring back at him.
Yeah, I would say, you know, and he's gonna start the kind of charm again to talk about you know how it's a bit blackmaily too, you know, about how he helped you out at High Garden, about how he understands your particular situation at the moment and all that kind of stuff. So this is going to be a charm. And he's going to have 2 bonus dice, but he's going to have 3 penalty dice. And then it's going to be a 16.
So it's going to be 2 degrees.
2 degrees, yeah. So that is going to be 6 damage.
Mara is out of the intrigue.
Oh, okay.
I had a feeling that was coming, but it feels interesting.
So, his objective, which you can decide to comply with, or you can decide to ignore and take stress, which essentially gives you some... It's like a wound for this. It kind of... Because all your frustration is going to go away after this intrigue, but stress will stick around until you can resolve it somehow. His objective was actually to find out what your plans are, like yours and Samwell's plans, basically. Both in a sense of what kind of your personal goals are, but also kind of what, you know, a little bit of what the house is up to, what the Tarlys are up to.
And I think however he puts it to her, she will kind of come around to tell him in the hopes that you know, I guess in the spirit of the narrative, that will make him more willing to tell her something. And she says, my plans, well, like I said, I go where Samuel goes, and Old Town is convenient because it is where High Septon is. I'm sure a man like you can work out why I might want to see such a man.
A petition. Very well.
A petition. As for Samuel's plans, as to why we're going to Old Town, I will be honest with you, I'm not quite sure myself, but he seemed insistent on going here, and so here I am. Which is the truth. Samuel hasn't actually told Mara why they're going to Old Town, other than I have plans in I've got a plan. Because that's what she wants to go and talk to him about now we're on the road. As for House Tarly, well, they were, along with House Oakheart, planning to raid Dawn until misfortune happened, and she indicates to her face. We turned the host around to seek justice. Host is being disbanded as far as I'm aware. Past that, Glendon Tarly doesn't keep me in his council meetings.
That is a shame. She'll have to send a rider to Glendon as quickly as I can, then. It's a shame. Very well. I hope we can stop soon.
Well, I am sure if I go up and ask Samuel, he'll be more than willing to take a rest. We have been riding for hours.
And why don't we kind of put it to that moment, so we can come to a rest stop. There's a little roadside inn that we can all sit down and have some food and some drinks as well. And if you wanted to have that conversation now, please, by all means, do.
I like to think Mara will go and search for Samuel while he's still in the tent away from everybody. And, I imagine Costain is like doing he's the one that really wanted to stop. So I can imagine that he is like properly getting himself comfortable somewhere.
Like little roadside inn. So he's kind of got paid for a table by himself just for a bit of kind of peace and quiet. He's, eating some stew of some kind, probably some hearty stew with potatoes, with a little bit of game meat on the side as well. Just kind of, humbly roasted. And that's the kind of fare that you've got as well. It's kind of, good eating, kind of roadside kind of stuff. This is the gas station on the highway type of fare, right?
I imagine we do the RPG classic and find like the dark corner at the back.
Yeah, sure. By the fire.
Yeah.
Although there really isn't a fire
imagine...
just now. Well, no, there is actually. So it's autumn, so they've got a fire going.
Imagine Mara comes back with, some plates of stew for her and Samuel herself. She quite enjoys being in these little roadside tavern inns where nobody makes too much of a fuss. She, puts them down in front of them both with some bread. Wow. Costain is certainly an interesting man.
I think Samuel is like, he doesn't notice the stew's been put down for a moment. He's kind of staring at the fire, a little distant. And I imagine the past few days, their last day in camp, and then, a couple of days of travel, he's kind of shown a little bit of like mood swings. He sometimes appears to be in a very dark mood, and he doesn't lash out at anybody directly. He'll lash out at like little tiny setbacks, right? Like he stubs his toe when he hops off his horse, or chopping firewood and whatnot. It takes a couple of extra swings. It's a little more violent than it needs to be. And then sometimes he's driven and optimistic and cheerful. All the time, he's riding probably harder than what he needs to. It's not like he keeps a not a leisurely pace, which probably annoys Costain, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Probably annoys Mara too. Mara's not the best of riders.
Yeah. And he probably mentions it like maybe at the end of the first night or something, that without the host and all the tension in the region, they're vulnerable to bandits. He keeps his armor on, and until he goes to bed at night. That they need to move quickly because the road isn't safe. And so imagine like here, he's probably tired, but his mind seems to be elsewhere. And then he notices the stew and he looks up and he says, yes, well, Lord Costain is not the most forthcoming man.
No, he is not. But then again, men with secrets never are. And I think she notices like he's distracted, and I think she reaches out and puts her hand on his across the table. Is everything okay? Because you haven't been yourself, and I'll be honest with you. And she kind of leans in a bit so they can have a quieter conversation. It's all well and good accompanying Costain, or he's accompanying us, is a feeling I get, but why are we going to Old Town? It's more than just being able to petition the High Septon for the marriage dissolution.
He affords a small smile, and he puts his other hand on top of yours, and he says, Perhaps it's just a gut feeling. But I still believe that my father and some of the other lords in the Reach are hiding things. They know about something that I do not, and I don't want to be in the dark. I want to understand the way the Reach is changing, because soon it might fall on my shoulders to make decisions that could affect people's lives. And I suppose since that night that Lady Rowan came to camp, and that has been weighing on my mind. It's frustrating because I know that Lord Leo is not capable of dealing with these situations. But right now, without more information, neither am I. And Costain might be a weasel.
But he is an ally.
But I hope so.
He claims he is to me. And he knows which lords in the Reach are also not very happy with Leo's leadership, shall we say. He won't tell me who. But he knows there's more happening here. I just can't get him to tell me what it is. But why Old Town, Sam? There are so many places in the Reach we could go to search for this, but why here? You have to trust me. I can't help you look for whatever you're looking for if you don't tell me what it is you're looking for.
I do trust you, Mara. Of course, I trust you with my life. I've been forming my thoughts, and I don't know which way I feel myself being pulled. But I know that in Old Town, there are people from around Westeros and beyond Westeros, culture, knowledge, and whether or not I'm right, I find myself asking, does the Black Dragon still have a hold over some of the lords in the Reach? And if so, who?
I think there's a little smile that plays at the edges of her lips, because obviously her father was a Blackfyre supporter. She grew up with that rhetoric. She also grew up with Oliver in the household, so I imagine even after the rebellion, there were probably conversations for quite some time that she would have overheard. She kind of, the smiles play at the corner of her lips, and she squeezes Samuel's hand a little bit. Well, if that's what we're here for, see if we can find it. But a warning with Costain, that man isn't just a weasel. He's very, very clever, far cleverer than I think some people give him credit for. He did mention something about having to send a raven or a rider back to your father. I don't know what for, though. He asked about the plans for the house and ours, and truthfully at the time I didn't know what they were, so there wasn't much I could tell him. Just be careful around him, Sam. He can be very, very helpful. And he never seems to ask for anything in return. But he will.
You can see Samuel's smile tug at the corner of his lips. He kind of lightens up a little bit and shoulders relax, and he says, well, the thing I have against Costain is that I'm not clever at all. They never see it coming.
Isn't that why you're marrying me? She pokes at him and kind of laughs, because you know he's been like, I imagine he's been mopey all day.
He laughs at that and he says, one of many reasons, yes.
Well, let's hope the High Septon agrees. If I get that dissolution, we are finding a sept before anyone can kill somebody or kidnap somebody or anything else can go wrong. She kind of laughs and starts, taking a spoonful of food and kind of pushes his bowl more towards him. It's like, eat. You have been riding for hours without taking a break.
He'll take a spoonful and look back at the fire and the hearth, and he doesn't take the bite. It's like hovering over his face, and he says, I almost wish something would go wrong.
So that second that Gregor enters the inn, opens the door, and he has a piece of parchment in his hand, folded up like a letter. And he looks around very quickly to find you, and sees you over by the hearth, and he moves over to you and he says, sorry, my lord, but there was a messenger, so I thought I better. He's got this letter in his hand.
Messenger gave you a message to give me
for
here
you
in this.
He came riding up and he shouted, "Is Sir Samuel Tarly here?" And I said yes, and then he gave me this letter.
He snatches it out of his hand. What heraldry, Gregor? Who was this messenger? Did you get a look?
Oh, it's and he's pointing at the wax seal. Oh, it's looks like House Tarly, sir.
Oh, yes, I knew that. Peels away the wax and like straightens up and all right, well. Then he reads the letter, I guess.
So you open up the wax seal, and inside, like a very thin version of Pass the Parcel. Do you have that in the States?
I have no idea what that is.
Oh my god, cultural exchange time. Sorry, no, it's when it might be called something else. I don't know. You're as kids at a birthday party, you will sit in a circle, and there's a really shit present. It has to be crap in the middle, and it's been wrapped about 20 times, and then there's music, and you pass it round, and then when the music stops, you open a layer, and then if you don't get it, you have to pass it back round again. It's really crap. Anyway, inside the letter is effectively another letter. So the outer bit is like an envelope in a sense. That's not what you'd expect. So it's blank. So you set that down, and that's got the seal on it. And then you unfold this piece of paper, and then this is the message that you see just posted in chat there. Sam, in the interest of fairness, I have taken it upon myself to also speak unwelcomed truths to a few others. I hope that the seeds planted by my increasingly awkward conversations eventually bear fruit. I wish you both every joy. F. And in the place of a wax seal for a heraldry, drawn, kind of scrawled in a pen just by the F, is a little tree.
He reads the letter once, and then he reads the letter twice, and he folds it up, and he smiles a little bit, and he tucks the letter back into the envelope, and he folds that in half, and he kind of flicks it between his hands, and he says, "Thank you, Gregor. This is nothing to be concerned with. I appreciate you bringing it to me."
Oh, no, of course, my lord.
Mara is 100% giving Sam this quizzical look from across the other side of the table. She doesn't say anything. She's just like, the letter?
Oh, yes. Gregor, have you fed Sir Cluck today?
I mean, I'd rather he fed me, to be honest, but no.
Gregor, don't you dare. Please go feed Sir Cluck.
All right. And he goes up.
He's sour. He looks sourly at Gregor, but as soon as Gregor turns, he gives him like a big smile. Like he really likes Gregor.
Mara's doing everything she can not to like break the composure of her face because she realizes that Samuel's. I imagine this is a thing she watches him do, and she sits there trying to pretend to be all serious, really trying not to laugh.
He walks up to the bar, orders some feed, and then, with a handful of it, having given over a couple of coppers, he walks out of the tavern with this little handful of seeds.
Samuel turns back to Mara and he slides the envelope towards her across the table and he says, it's from, I believe, Lady Rowan.
And she very cautiously picks it up as if questioning whether or not he's meaning for her to read it or not.
And he doesn't seem to indicate either way. He just says, she wishes us both well, and I believe is speaking on our behalf, perhaps in court.
How interesting. She kind of smiles, and it's genuine. I knew I liked her. Mostly. And she kind of plays with the wax seal across her fingers, but she doesn't feel a need to read it after he tells her that, and she kind of slides it back across to him.
He takes it back and maybe like tucks it into the, his gauntlet, which he's taken off and like set on the side of the table. So he tucks it into the inside of the gauntlet. And he takes a bite, finally, his first bite of stew, and he says, when we get to Old Town, we should seek out the Septon first. Some of the business I do, some of the people I speak with, it may not be safe for you to follow me, but you do not have to worry, Mara. Whatever happens, I will tell you the truth.
Oh, Samuel, I don't think you realize how this works. I am always going to worry about you, especially when you tell me things like that. But fine, we will see the Septon first, and if we get this marriage dissolved, we are finding a sept before you go and get yourself stabbed. And she's like only half joking. Like, you can see in her face that she's like, I know you could probably kill a man, but just in case.
Yeah, he considers it seriously. And he, like, you can see his eyes bouncing like, yes, it is a plan.
Now, for God's sake, eat. And she because it's now, I imagine the stew is now getting cold, and she is concerned about him. They've been riding hard all day. I imagine they haven't stopped for a break. He probably hasn't eaten since they set off the day before.
He's not been drinking alcohol the past couple of nights either. He's not been drinking ale or wine. So he starts eating, and once he starts, he devours that bowl. Like, he recalls that, oh yes, I'm actually very, very hungry and I do need to eat. And he eats very quickly.
I imagine Mara has been snacking the entire time on some kind of meat jerky that they have, and seeing Samuel demolish his food, she only gets halfway through this massive bowl and just pushes it over to him. Just you can have the rest.
It's a very boyish, very young smile. Probably more like what he looked like before Mara almost got killed. When he slides the bowl over and very sheepishly begins eating the stew from that too. And he's got stew stains his teeth. It's pulling up in the corners of his mouth. He looks like a mess all of a sudden. And he just starts eating the second bowl.
She just kind of sits back in the chair. I don't know why I'm imagining a booth. I'm imagining the little booth things they had in the tavern that Catelyn Stark was in way back in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
She kind of just sits back and gets comfortable and just kind of laughs to herself watching him make a mess of himself eating this stew.
That's a good point, I think. Miria, we're back.
Ooh.
So stretching below you from, down from the valley of these mountains to the shoreline of the northern coast of Dorne, lies the holdfast of the Tor. So this is Lord Jourdain's seat. Ahead of you can see this Dornish castle of kind of Andal construction and architecture. And around it, and on its colonnades and out to sea too, you can see a whole host here. You see a fleet of ships. By the look of them, a mix of kind of, Lyseni ships, even a couple of Braavosi ships, different vessels from across the narrow sea that have brought across with them, by the looks, many mercenaries who are all, as you start to make your way down with this parley group made up of the upper lords, and if the sand snake, it's not the sand snakes, Jesus, that's the thing. The sands of dawn around them, forming two columns essentially to try and just keep guard. You begin to see this host form up and start to initiate drills, start to try and form up into lines or even shield walls. And separating from two of those units emerges another group who start to ride up, made up of nobles, it seems. And even from this vantage point, you think you can make out in the center the kind of overbearing presence of Bittersteel. And so this group and yours begin to ride towards each other in order to meet. They are flanked by probably double the number of mercenaries than the Sands of Dawn are making up for their version of the guard here on your side. And as you ride up, and as your kind of de facto leader for the Sands of Dawn just at this time, you're riding just behind the main group here of Lord Prince Maron, Aegor, the Blood Raven, Lord Illyrian, and Ser Daegos as well. As you meet the other side, you see, and you're probably a good, 20 feet apart. There is a very standoffish, kind of almost two small armies meeting kind of feeling about this. And behind them, this huge army and fleet ready at a moment's notice. There is a tension in the air as you and the sea breeze kind of hits you in the face, almost as if this kind of force is coming from this army as well. But you can taste the salt on the air as you begin to look at the sour expressions of the people in front of you meeting your host. You have Aegor Rivers, Bittersteel here, with his purple eyes surveying the group, with black hair. He's got his close-cropped beard, and he looks lean, light, and tall, much like a warrior. At his side, you can see the beautifully hilted and engraved blade, which I believe is not Blackfyre. What's the blade again? Shit.
No, it is Blackfyre, right?
Yeah, quite possibly.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we psyched ourselves out there, Sam. We knew.
I know. The actual Blackfyre blade. Behind him, just off in a similar position to yours, you can see the golden locks and middle-aged complexion of Lord Stefan Jourdain.
Oh. Well.
Next to Lord Rivers, there's a man sat atop a courser, a brown courser. No, actually, sorry, he's sat atop a chestnut sand steed. And his wavy brown hair drops just above his shoulders, and with a thin, stubbly beard, and a more weathered and tanned complexion than when you last saw him. But your memory immediately gives you the undeniable idea that this is the comely face of Harris Ball.
I fucking called it! Fucking do it!
To his left sits a lady with her auburn wine-coloured hair braided behind her back this time, slightly thinner and with crow's eyes beginning to age her youthful face and narrow chin. Lady Desmera Redwine sits to his left on another sand steed. There's another woman, again, just to the right of the kind of party, a little bit further back on a sand steed, looking a little bit uncomfortable on top of it. She is a beautiful woman with thick, curly brown hair, roughly tied back behind her head, plump round lips, and piercing teardrop blue eyes, and several golden hoops down each ear glinting in the sun. There's something unmistakable about her appearance, and it puts to mind a famous pirate in your own court. If you could believe it, if you could say it out loud, this is like the female version of Enzo.
What? Also, Sam, you've all but just fucking guaranteed that I'm gonna become a Blackfyre, okay? Like, Jesus Christ. Stack the deck against me, why don't you?
Is Tom still in chat?
Tom, you here, bud?
Anyway.
Ooh.
Just in shock, probably. Okay, yeah. But she looks uncomfortable on top of her sand steed, and she's wearing the kind of thin, soft kind of leather armor of a captain of a seafaring woman. The two parties stare at each other, and it's Maron that breaks the silence in the air. Bittersteel? And Bittersteel just glares at him. Prince Maron, I presume. I am here to parley with you. The force behind you answers my first question about your intentions here. Lord Jourdain, I am honestly surprised to see that you have ridden out here with these traitors. If you require our assistance, please speak now and we will ride to your aid. And Stefan looks at him with a kind of coy smile and says, I do not need such aid. Maron kind of looks to the side. You can see he's been put off a little bit, and he turns back to the group and he says, I am here to inform you that Daeron II, the good, could issue you a pardon if you were to turn in the rest of the Blackfyre family. And he's about to go into more of this kind of formality of, like, he's obviously kind of had something a little bit prepared, and Bittersteel just raises his gloved hand and just says, I require no pardon. And the whole group looks kind of to each other, a little bit unsure of what's going on. I want to just roll something here. I want to see just how memorable I made him. Okay. Susie, what is Miria doing in this moment? In these moments?
So I think Maria is holding position at the minute. I think in the interest of coming across as a friendly False Parley, you know, we're not there with hostile intentions. Because it's like a TV show, right? No one's got helmets on. So Maria's probably sat there with her helmet in her lap. She's gripping the reins very tightly. Her palms are pretty sweaty. This is, you know, there's one thing imagining it, and then there's seeing the fucking host in front of you and Bittersteel with Blackfyre on his hip. Harris, she's kind of, you know, I think her eyes are like on Harris, being like, you know, she's holy shit, I know this guy, because she doesn't know Desmera because she never met Desmera.
Mm.
The other people are strangers to her, but there is that boy she grew up with right there, and so she's trying to listen and watch, but also she's like, oh shit.
And Harris's gaze meets yours, and you know, for the longest time, he stares at you as well.
Mm-hmm.
His face, you know, drops slightly, but he's very much kind of, he's in a stark contrast to when you knew him as a boy or as a, you know, as a young teenager. He is just kind of sat atop this sand steed, like, yeah, I'm a fucking general.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm kind of here to do, you know. And he's certainly playing the part.
Yeah. I think before Miriam moves her eyes to like your Lord Jordan or anything, she gives Harris the hint of a smile. She obviously isn't beaming because she knows she's got a lot of people over here that would probably notice if she's going, hey up my old blood treacle to, you know, a Blackfyre. But you know, she gives him that recognition before she looks at Jordan and she's like, I see you.
Yeah. Did Jordan know you were heading into Dawn? I think he did, right? I think he's...
Yes, but he knew that Maria was working with the Queen. She told him. She didn't tell him what she was going to do, but that the Queen had a job for her. Yeah. And they'd shared a conversation which was like, you know. Yeah.
All right. Jordan looks at you, and I can imagine your appearance is quite different from you know, when you were like at that party, at that you know, kind of festival, right? And so, you know, he kind of scans over your face, and then kind of there is that little twinkle of, okay, you're here. That's okay. All right. And he actually, you know, whilst kind of listening, kind of just gives it a little kind of nod of like, okay.
And yeah, Miria gives him a little very slight nod back.
It's interesting. Yeah. And in between the kind of just stops and starts, the little fits and even the spits of conversation that are happening between just the two sides to kind of roughly find out, you know, what's going on. You know, everyone's kind of looking at each other, and you know, he's kind of, you can tell he's trying to kind of make everyone on your side, like, this is what we're after. We're looking for people. Like, if anyone's going to make a move, kind of thing, right? Bittersteel turns towards Bloodraven. And he just stares at him for a moment, and rather than addressing him, rather than potentially calling him brother, he spits into the sand, and he says, on your wings, tell his grace his days are numbered. My lord Jordan, you wish for this princedom. I think our first order of business is decapitating its current prince. Do you not feel? And there is like swords all go up, like both sides all reacting, kind of a couple of horses rear up ready to go. The guard is all kind of like poised up ready to go. Everyone's kind of there. And it's that Mexican standoff moment. And it hangs in the air for a few minutes before Lord Illyrian steps forward a few paces and about turns and stares down your party. A few of the Sands are kind of looking about themselves. And then I need you to roll for initiative.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I'm going to get you to roll for initiative. Thank you, V. Is that for Miria?
Yeah,
we
it's easy.
Thanks. Thanks, Fia. Love you.
I think it's a test die, right?
Queen of Dawn.
Fiver. Do it. Yeah, Susie, I'm going to get you to roll initiative, and then I'm going to ask you who you want to hit, basically, and then I'm going to get them to roll
God.
initiative instead.
Okay. Oof. All right. I got an 8.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
It's not great.
It was good knowing you.
Thanks,
That's
Sam.
fine.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. So as the sands just start like charging at each other and start fighting on horseback, as Lord Illyrian has spun his horse round and is probably about to charge the party as the rest of them are about to go at it. Who would you like to target? What would you like to do?
Oh shit. Oh man. This is the moment, right? Okay. Miria raises her small shield and spear, and I think her horse bucks a little as she gets it under control as this melee is happening around. And as it bucks, she turns it, and she's gonna put her spear through whoever is closest that's not Nikos on her side.
Oh man. So you were oh man. Thank you very much, Pope.
Or here's the juiciest fruits, right? The battle has kicked off. I said earlier, Chekhov's threat. If the battle kicks off, there's gonna be an accident and the prince might have a whoopsie. So Prince Marin is gonna hopefully have a whoopsie.
All right.
I said it. I gotta do it.
All right, you're gonna go up against the prince.
Ew.
That's Mayron. That's his son. There we go, Mayron. I'm gonna roll initiative for him.
What if you do? Don't press this one red button. It's too late.
All right, you got a 9. You were on an 8, so that is he's got the upper hand there. So I guess what this looks like is that you're charging up behind him as he is pulling back, like he's doing a runner. And
yeah.
This doesn't look like cowardice necessarily. Like he's not like, oh my god, fucking hell. He's turning around and he's trying to get people to rally because he knows he's got fuck all people.
Yeah.
Like this is the tactical decision. So he's rounding up, and essentially, you know, he's doing that. His horse is bucked up, and he's kind of turning around on the back legs as he's kind of about to turn around. That's where you find him. So that's where you're able to go in. So
I want to kind of make it look as though, she marries a spear gal, spear and like a short, small round shield.
Yeah.
I want to kind of make it look like to him at first that there's that hint of a doubt whether or not she's coming for him or covering him, right?
Yeah.
So she's got it in the battle position as if it's like, retreat behind me, my prince, whoops, kind of situation.
Yeah, all right. I think for that, honestly, like he's going to move. I think because he's quicker, it's just that he's going to move past you. You don't quite get that chance to like spear him. So as you go for the attack, he's moved past, and there's already sands kind of coming in like behind, coming in back. As you turn to then try and possibly chase after, you then see that there is a sand coming in from your left-hand side that's like made you and has eyed you and going, hang the fuck, like she's just fucking gone for him. So she's coming at you as well now. So she's riding you down. Have I got a sand? I'm not sure.
Gonna die.
I'm just gonna get a knight here, I think. I've got a sand dog that's literally a dog. We didn't ever use that. I didn't ever use that on you, Don. I might have done when you were traveling with Tom through Dawn. That's kind of like a little wildlife encounter. Why not? Hunter, hedge knight. This is hedge knight. Let's do it. Spears. Bam. Oh, bonus dice. No penalty dice. A 16 against your combat defense.
Ooh, my combat defense is 14, so that's 1 degree of success.
Okay. Sorry, friends. I'm gonna have to go and find it in the textbook, in the rule book, for the damage because I don't have the spear just to hand just yet. That's on that side. So she is going to deal her athletics damage to you, 3 damage.
Okay, that tanked by my armor. That's fine.
Nice. Okay, yeah. So yeah, or kind of glancing off your shield now that your 2 sand steeds are now kind of neighing at each other and kind of backing up and around. As you're just in a bit too close of a quarter now. Now she's kind of charged you for shields to really be effective. But I'm quite happy to say that you've got a small sword to your side that you can get out as a kind of short sword if you want to use that. If you want to use your spear, I'm going to give it a penalty dice just because of the close quarter range, but you can use a small sword.
Let's have a look. I am still better off using the spear, honestly. Because if I use a short sword, I got nothing.
Sure.
All right. So yeah, okay. Miri's gonna take a moment to She's just gonna aim her attack and try and just get rid of this sand very quickly. Just try and aim for a vital point, neck, armpit, not fussy, vital point.
Yeah.
So I need to custom roll this one because I got some funky stuff going on. So
no worries.
Custom roll, total dice pool is gonna be 7. Dropping 3. So I get a bonus die for the aim. And then there's a penalty of 1 die, right? So I should drop 4, actually. All right. Modifier. Do I get a modifier? No. 12. Ooh, with 1 6 in there.
12 is a crit, actually. It's 2 degrees of success.
Let's go. Okay. So a crit, 1 crit is ignore 2 of the opponent's AR.
Nice. What's the damage?
And we said for Miria, because of her training with the spear, she uses agility for her damage rather than strength.
Okay.
So it would be 6.
Very nice. And it's ignoring 2 of the AR?
Yep.
Cool. All right. Yeah, you certainly cut into her splint armor, into her scale, Dornish scale armor, and she cries out as she kind of takes the hit onto the right hand side and glances around it. She moves her horse around, pulls out a sword, and she'll try and hit you with that. This is not castle forged. Oh shit. 20.
Oh yeah, that's 2.
That was a big hit. Hang on a minute now. Okay, yeah. Wow, I just must have rolled really badly last time. Yeah, I did.
Sam, that says that's a long sword. She's clearly using a short sword. Okay.
Yeah, is 20 a crit?
It's 2 degrees of success. It's not double my defense.
Cool. No, that's great. That's good. And then so damage is what is it? 3 plus? Oh, okay, yeah. So it's 4 base, so it'd be 8 damage.
Okay, that's fine. Okay.
People have been throwing you dice, and I haven't been adding.
Oh shit! Have they? Okay, let's go.
No, I think actually I have given you the 2 dice that came into you.
Okay.
And then James just threw in a dice for me because actually. Okay.
See you, James. We have a meeting tomorrow morning, just as a reminder.
Yeah, I think it's over to you now, right?
Okay, yeah. Let's See if there's anything I can do that's particularly stupid.
Marin is starting to get out of there. I mean, he's had a round or two now
Yeah.
to ride away. And there have been mercenary spearmen that have been now starting to encircle you guys. But they're on foot.
Okay. If I chase after Marin, I'm fucking dead. But if I throw my spear, that's marksmanship, right?
Spears. Can you throw a spear? Probably. What's thrown? You can throw a spear. Speciality is just thrown. So that is marksmanship.
Marksmanship, which is not good. I'm not going to lie, friends. It's very not good. If I throw my spear, it's going to end up in the reach.
You should spend all of your keep dice you have now to just like try and get him.
Yeah, for the movie shot, right?
Try do it.
Okay, so I'll do is I'll aim to get an extra bonus die.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna try.
You got 2 dice in your frame.
Use my dice. I'm gonna put 1 bonus there and thrown.
So that's 2 keep dice.
Okay. All right. It's gonna be 5. Drop 1.
Oh, mate.
Do we hit Mara Martell? Roll 20. Please be with me.
Like 34 or something. This is going to be the Tom moment.
19 with 2 6s.
It's 3 degrees of success and is double his combat defense.
Let's go. Even if it doesn't kill him, I want him to know it was me. So 2 6s is a sundering hit. It reduces his AR by 1 until his armor is repaired. If it's 3 degrees of success, that's going to be 9 damage to him.
Oh, really? Ooh.
Yeah.
All right. He's going to take a wound.
Oh.
Yeah. Your spear launches into his shoulder, like just by his neck here, and it is sticking out of him as he's now holding on with one hand to the reins and is riding for his life. The Blackfyre with Blood Raven kind of trying to shoot an arrow from on his horse, his hood kind of flapping and falling back, the sun kind of in his eye. He is pelting it as well in reverse. The sands that have left, there's kind of 3-4 of you here left now. The rest of that host, apart from Lord Illyrian, who isn't chasing after them as such, and neither is Bittersteel really. He kind of made a motion to, and then essentially just kind of called it off for a second, as the mercenaries and the guards have started kind of moving, encircling the sands to see what they're doing. So there are spears, there are with shields, there are swords, there are maces and axes, and a whole host of different kind of things, all kind of pointed in your direction now. The Sand is not gonna quite let up yet. She's gonna take one more attempt. The 16.
1 degree.
There's 1 6 in there, so just 1 degree. So she is going to do 4 damage.
Okay, it's tanked by my armor.
All right. So by the time she makes one more attempt, and you defend that with your shield, and that's all you've got now. She pulls back, and she can see that you're all encircled at this point. And so the sand that was with you throws down... that's with the two of you, throws down his spear in his shield. And is similarly pulled off his horse. And then the sand that was attacking you kind of regretfully throws down her arms, and probably kicks the first guy to come and try and drag her off her horse, but then dismounts quickly and goes down onto 2 knees in the sand. As a few of the mercenaries approach you, you hear a familiar voice say, "Stop." And Harris rides forward up towards you, and leaving room for the 7 between the horses, looks over to you and asks, Miria?
Harris? It's been a long time.
Fuck the 7. This is unexpected.
You're telling me. It's good to see you, though.
Did I just see you throw a spear at Prince Martell?
You did.
And there's
I
still
hit him, too.
a couple of mercenaries who are kind of like ready to, they look quite eager to have another kind of captive. And he spits a couple of words in probably Lyseni. And they then they're like, oh, fuck. They like back off from you, right? Are you tired? There's food inside. I don't think we're pursuing.
And Miria is she's clearly, this was a fight that happened without any sort of preparation. So she's like, she wipes her brow. She stows her helmet. Oh no, her helmet's probably somewhere else now.
Yeah.
It's probably just fucking gone somewhere. And she's like, I would love that.
As you ride back, there's a kind of horn, and the few other sand steeds that they have left, they've then allocated to some of the kind of sergeant level mercenaries. They've started a pursuit. They gallop past you as quick as a sand steed is on this terrain, and then Lord Jourdain slowly rides up side by side with you, and he kind of eyes the two of you suspiciously and kind of says, my lady?
Lord Jourdain.
As if to kind of say, who is this right now? Like, I don't want to give the game away.
Hello, Lord Jourdain. It's good to see you again. How's the leg? And she's acting completely chill. She's not, as if they're at the party again. So
Well, thank you. That could have gone better.
Could have gone worse.
I very much agreed. How is Her Grace the Queen these days?
Old and cantankerous as ever.
And your business here with Prince Bloodraven?
Well, you see, I was on here for a very specific reason. I'm sure that's pretty evident by now. But when your friends arrived, that kind of threw a small spanner in the works.
Well, perhaps we can talk more over some lunch.
I mean, not to get straight to work, but if you want to know anything about their camp, their complement, their intentions, then I was leading one of the forces. I can tell you what I know.
When you say that, to your right-hand side, a few kind of horse lengths over, you see more at a slight trot. The tall and lean, athletic physique of not Bloodraven, Bittersteel in his armor, trot past, and without looking back to you, but with us kind of his deep, kind of booming voice says, "Oh, we will want to know everything."
But there's a little it's not the same as Bloodraven gave her, Bloodraven gave her the creepy this is a commanding presence that even if she was the bravest woman in the world would still give her a little shiver just because of his sheer just presence, right? It's gonna just do that to a person.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. All right. Mara, once more. So you finally arrive with Samuel, with Lord Costain, who will stay here, momentarily, and before moving on to Old Town. This is one of the largest cities in Westeros, and one of the oldest too. You can see off towards the harbour in the distance, the High Tower, the seat of Lord Hightower, as this kind of almost lighthouse crossed with a large kind of castle keep built upon a tower. It's this big construction. Not far from that as well, you can see off in the distance again, because there is a slight kind of valley dip down towards the coast from where you're riding. You can also see this, grand septon, this kind of almost black kind of marble walled building off in the distance that you immediately recognize with 7 small towers, but the sun just bouncing off some of its multicolored windows, and so that kind of rainbow of the 7 is just kind of kicking off in the air, and giving you that Hollywood glare. Right.
Lens flare everywhere.
Lens flare everywhere, yeah. But yeah, you are here and destined for the Starry Sept, which is this black marble building. Let's cut to it, I guess. Head straight there. Around you.
I imagine Mara might have sent a raven ahead of time before they left camp to get an audience with the High Septon. I imagine he's a fairly busy person.
Yeah, absolutely. And I imagine that he also will kind of be taking court in a way, a bit like a lord might. And so, the faithful will come and they will kind of ask for things, or they'll get blessings or stuff like that. So, there is certainly a kind of open nature to his court. As you ride up to these black marbled walls and arched windows, you see that there are various mansions as well that are decked out for the pious and for the oh man, what were they called? The most devout, which is basically like the kind of upper clergy of the faithful of the 7. And so yes, there are these mansions that have been built around them, around this grand sept. And there are, begging brothers, faithful holy brothers and holy sisters walking around the cobbled streets, and evangelizing on every corner. Between all the crisscrossing alleys and the narrow crooked streets, and even the little market that services the kind of faithful quarter here, you find yourself up at these grand steps that make your way up into the Starry Sept, and there is this great kind of hall like construction in the very middle. Very cathedral like, I'm guessing, but built on 7 sides, and has some kind of cloisters around the edges and smaller chapels for each of the gods, if you were to want to pray particularly to one of them. And up at the essentially a dais, a very small marble dais on a marble chair inlaid with kind of crystal glass, and shining down on him, these brightly multicolored stained glass windows of each depicting the 7 gods, sits a rather old man, quite skinny in his kind of grand robes, spun of cloth of silver, or it's kind of a very, very, very light cloth of silver, and he wears this kind of big crystal crown, thanks George, that kind of glistens and disco balls the hall around a little bit. But after a few petitioners, you were invited to step up to the High Septon, and without looking at you, he asks, "Why do you stand before me today, child?"
And I think Mara is in this huge cathedral. Her and Sam will have been to Old Town before, but I don't think they ever went to the Sept. And I think there's a, it's that kind of imposing presence if she's in this big echoey room. And I imagine it's like any church or cathedral, doesn't matter how quiet you are, the sound always seems to just bounce a little bit. And actually the quieter you speak, the creepier it is. But I think she wrings her hands a bit because she is nervous. And she takes a breath and she can feel her heart pounding, and she looks at this old man in front of her and almost timidly, like she doesn't realize she's not speaking with her full voice. I've come to ask for my marriage to be dissolved.
Very well, child. And we're going to intrigue this. So I'll ask you to roll intrigue initiative, which I've got here as well. Ooh,
Imagine Mara's got all of her composure and stuff back because it's probably been a while.
Absolutely. All your frustration goes away. The composure goes back up to the top. And for a change of pace too, the two of you can be involved rather than just Sam Will assisting you. You can both take a turn.
Yeah. I got 12.
And for Samuel's part, he's very comfortable in Old Town until they start to get to that very, very religious area closest to the Great Sept. He knows the back alleyways. He actually he actually really enjoys Old Town. He much prefers it as a place to go than to Highgarden or some of the other places in the Reach. But he looks more than uncomfortable, even in his armor, which he's polished and repolished, so polished twice that day, looking as neat and proper, his hair like well tended as he possibly can. Climbing those steps, going into those halls, more than anxious, almost scared, almost afraid. Like he sees, maybe like a priest moving between alcoves to the right, and he almost jumps a little bit. And so by the time that he gets up there, his heart is beating too, and he doesn't even he has no idea about the decorum when it comes to dealing with septons. It's just not something that's ever been in his purview. I got a 20.
Still got a 20. So you know something. Or maybe just that nervousness is kind of is ingrained in him to be careful about that. Yeah, cool. Well, I like PCs to break ties, so you can go first.
Okay. And is he status 4 or above?
He is. Yeah.
So I get to, let's see, I roll a status test here.
Yeah, this is from your breeding specialty stuff.
Oh, it's pretty bad roll though.
What's it against?
Oh, hold on, let me click this. This will tell me. It is against his intrigue defense.
It does not beat it, no.
Yeah, I thought that might be the case. Okay, no, that makes sense. Samuel's not as comfortable as he usually is.
Cool. All right.
I guess if Samuel's going first, then he's going to do something supportive to start. So let me take a look at this list. So he doesn't feel like he should speak on Lady Mara's behalf, at least not to start with.
Assistance is often the easiest thing to do. I don't think I've got it in the actions, but we've often simplified it as giving a +1 bonus dice to the other person. That we could just do that.
I think, what I think I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to
there's a red button, push it.
Not yet. I think I'm going to Shield of Reputation to start with.
Nice.
And so I think in this moment, like he's nervous and he's been holding it in and he hasn't said anything. And then like he does interrupt, maybe awkwardly, to announce himself. And when he announces himself, how would he do it? He'll say, is he a maester? What would his official title be? Like you would call him High Septon, or
You would call him like Your Holiness, I think. Hang on a second. I did write this down as well.
God. No,
I
that
had a
sounds
similar
right.
question. I'm glad someone else asked it.
Your Holiness.
His High Holiness. Yeah. Your Holiness.
All right. He'll leave out the high part. He'll say, Your Holiness, thank you for seeing us. I am Sir Samwell Tarly, champion the Reach.
All right. Again, he doesn't look at you. He seems to be looking over to the side a little bit, not really looking at anything at any point. He's essentially not using his eyes. And so, yeah, roll that Shield of Reputation for me. Versus passive will, success improves the target's disposition by 1 step.
I got a 19.
Against his passive will. So he's a pious man. He's got pretty good will. Not quite enough.
Oh, damn it. That's okay. He deserves that. Samwell deserves that.
So you see the High Septon smile for a second, and then he says, "And I would pray to the warrior to strengthen your shield arm, good Samwell, but we are all the Seven's champions, child." It's, does some kind of egalitarian bit.
Samwell just sort of shifts a little bit awkwardly. Internally, he thinks, I don't use shields, but that's
okay. Brilliant. Cool. Okay. So he is going to go next. He is going to consider. I think it makes sense, and that leaves Mara to finish up this round.
I think Mara doesn't necessarily introduce herself at first as she comes up. I think perhaps maybe more than Samwell, she's not massively pious, but she was brought up with both sets of gods, even if the old gods were kind of predominantly what was talked about at Greenmont. So she I think there's a thing of like she wouldn't necessarily introduce herself because she understands that your title and position don't really matter in a place like this.
Yeah.
I've come to ask for my marriage to be dissolved. My name is Mara, and I am married to Sir Alistair of House Oakhart. And I wish for that marriage to come to an end. I do not know how much news reaches Old Town here of the events going on in the Reach, but several years ago, barely a year after we were married, my husband committed murder in my father's halls, in my stepmother's halls, killing a man who helped bring me up, who was a close friend of his, soon to be husband to my stepmother. And that act deeply hurt everybody that I care about, tore my family from me, cost me the child that we had had together. And he is still imprisoned and has been since. I understand that we did have a wedding. That marriage was consensual, but that marriage is on paper only. It barely existed, and since then, the repercussions of what he has done have almost cost me my life. And I think she figures that perhaps maybe he can't see. He's either blind or very, very hard of sight. So she describes her injury.
Mm-hmm.
My own stepmother tried to kill me with a shadow cat that tore out half of my face. And I no longer want to be attached to a man who I know has no honor. So I have come here because you are the only person who may be able to help. Because the gods themselves, I think, have led me on this path. I saw the justice of the father when Alistair was sentenced. I gained the wisdom from the crone, although it took a long time to realize what his actions had truly done to the people I care about. And when I laid there dying, thinking I wouldn't wake up from the blackness that was overcoming me, the stranger released me from his grasp. And the sword I wear at my waist is what got me back to safety. No doubt the blessings of the smith. The maiden has seen it so that despite all of that grief and heartache and awfulness, I have found love again. And she briefly turns to Samuel, even though she doesn't know if the High Septon can see. And it is only by the courage granted to me by the warrior that I stand before you to ask this of you. To ask for the mother's mercy, so that I can be free to wed another.
Let's roll some dice, and I'm going to give you 2 bonus dice because that was so well put and well researched. So I'm going to put myself to shame at this point, not really caring or knowing much about the fucking faith.
I had to Google all the names of the 7, and even then had to count them because my brain didn't recognize that 7 gods was 7. That's where I'm at this weekend.
No, I've got a fucking list too, mate. This barely comes up, so I don't know.
Okay, so that was 2 bonus dice with that. And that's a +1, so 23 with 2 crits.
Nice. Let's find his intrigue defense again.
I'm afraid of what his intrigue defense
is going to be a crit.
Ooh.
So I've been doing well this time. So that's 2 6s, so check out that. And it's going to be 16, 21, 3 degrees of success.
So 2 6s is vulnerable hit, permanently reduce your opponent's DR by 1.
Ooh, cool. All right. And what's the damage?
So that was 3 degrees of success.
Yeah.
12.
Very good. Okay. Sure. I think where that's at. Okay. Cool. And Samuel is up next. If you wanted to act first.
Yeah. Okay. Samuel takes a step forward, and he, Morrow could tell that he's still very nervous. Maybe you can just hear a little rattling of his plate mail, his armor, because he can't quite stand still. But he manages a reassuring smile to Mara, and he doesn't think that this Septon is looking at them. So he thinks he can get away with it. A little smile to the side, and he kneels down. He takes a knee. So the sound of his armor clanks and echoes through this huge vaulted room. And he says, "Your Holiness, it is my intention to wed Lady Mara before the eyes of the 7. And I believe that this is what is right for the realm. There are whispers in the south of the Reach. Witchcraft, the old gods, reclaiming the hearts of the people, even the leaders of certain houses. House Greenmont is one of these houses, touched by dark magic, by heresy. With Lady Mara at my side, we can spread the light of the 7 throughout the Reach once more. We can cleanse the dark stain attached to House Greenmont and lead House Tarly forward under the light.
All right. It's a convince roll.
That's what I think, yeah.
Is this deception? How devout is he?
I mean, he's not devout, but he'll take the side of the seven over the side of the old gods, because as much as like he's uncomfortable here, the old gods, like the idea, like when he looked at that werewood tree, it legitimately, like the idea of it, he hates. Is it deception though? I don't know. I mean, he's not incredibly devout, but he'll make an allegiance if it helps him.
Well, I'll put this to you really, and I've done this before to people. If you want to use persuasion, then we've got to hold the character to it. Otherwise, if you just kind of want to be like, yeah, I said some things, and it felt good at the time, but then we can roll deception instead.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's willing. Like he's basically saying, like, I'm willing to swear that, we'll walk under the light of the seven, even though he knows, I think, that Lady Mara is actually, believes in the old gods, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I think you probably know Mara has a belief in both. She would have been brought up with both, but I think he probably knows that she has a favor to she favors the old gods in kind of what she practices, but she has prayed to the seven before.
Cool.
Okay.
Persuasion.
All right. A 20.
Oh.
With 2 6s, although I don't think that's a crit.
That's not quite a crit. Not quite. But it is 2 degrees of success.
So is that 8?
8 damage, yeah. All right. The High Septon turns his body a little bit towards where you were speaking, although his head is a little more off to the side, but he says, "You have made some vows today, my child, whether you meant to me or not, you have made them to the seven. Whilst the mother and father teach us that marriage is not an easy thing, and that there is some reconciliation to be made at all sides, there must come a time when, during the marriage, there must be some separation. It seems as though with your husband's influence in your house and his imprisonment, that it would only be right for the seven to grant you this annulment. And there's some formality around the sides, like some of the most devout are scribbling stuff down, giving you the paperwork. But essentially, as the kind of avatar of the seven, he's, effectively absolved you of your marriage vows.
I don't think Mara really knows what to say. I don't think she even turns to look at Samuel. I imagine she's just being handed this paperwork as it's kind of being scribbled down as they're talking. And she's just looking at this piece of paper that tells her this is the case. And I imagine like marriages are all sent off to the Citadel and things like this, and paperwork and stuff. And I think it's only once she reads it in ink that's in her hands that she finally turns to Samuel. And like you just see her let out this breath and her shoulders drop. Like tension she has been holding for years is just gone. I mean, I assume there are other seps here. So like Mara was only half kidding. I think she probably makes the joke to Samuel of, do we get married here? There must be a septon.
And I don't think, I think like the idea, that's like the first time it's really struck him. And he thinks about it and he smiles and he says, we could, yes, or we could make a grand show of it. Something to celebrate across the Reach. Something my father would celebrate. But if you are not feeling like celebrating after everything you've been through, Mara, I understand.
I don't see why we can't have both. And she has that smile, that same kind of thing of like, you know, they like their opulence. We could get married here. That way we don't have to worry about anybody else getting in the way, because when John finds out about this, he's not going to be pleased. And when we go back to the Reach, we can throw the biggest celebration they've seen in years.
Let me ask Sam. Let me ask this question, because this might paint how he reacts. Sam knows his dad really well, right? Would Glendon be super pissed if we got married and didn't invite him and like didn't actually do a proper wedding, right? Like, oh, I just, because we're down in Old Town, we got married. Hey, Dad, we're back. Like, would he be mad, or would he be?
If you're asking me
what I know of his personality,
if you're asking me from a I wanted to be there when it happened point of view, he might be convinced to understand why you did it. If you're asking me from a political point of view, he's probably going to have more say and more opinions about that.
Yeah. So I think Samwell then takes Mara's hand and gives it a squeeze, and he says, I think we could actually stand to gain a lot within the Reach if we do this in a way that everyone can see. And you don't have to worry about Lord John Oakhart. There is nothing he can do but accept this decree.
There is plenty he can do, including trying to talk your father round. They are old friends.
Yes, well, he's my father. I don't think he'll deny me or you. We've done this right.
If that is what you want, Sam, just so much has now gone right. I would hate for something to go wrong. And you can tell she is afraid. Like, you know, she has this fear that any minute the thing that she most wants is going to be taken from her. Like, that's a fear that has persisted for the last few years now. That every time something good happens, she's waiting for the bad. Because so far that has been the cycle. Something good happens and then it's immediately destroyed by something else.
Hey, now come at me for my GMing style. Fucking hell.
No, it's fine. I love it, Sam. Mara doesn't. I do.
I think he'll take a hand and he'll put it like on the side of her face that's scarred, like touching her scar. Just kind of like brush his thumb across, and he'll say, nothing's going to happen. And besides, Mara, everyone loves a wedding. This will be perfect.
Okay. She nods. You can kind of tell that's not exactly what she wanted, but it's what Sam wants. So she will accept it.
And internally, it's entirely because of politics, I think. Like, I don't think he can bring himself to make that blunder, even though he's very excited.
I think she'd get that. She understands, you know, the magnitude of that. Well then, I suppose we better look for what we're looking for here and get back to the Reach. And she smiles.
Oh, yes. Perhaps I'll have to find Gregor too. I hope he found a good tavern.
There was a good dressmaker's here, if I remember, from when we were last here. Perhaps while you were off in these dangerous places that I can't follow you, I could go looking for a dress.
Yes, just make sure that Hunter or Gregor goes with you, I suppose.
I won't go anywhere by myself. You know that.
Good.
As a note, Sam, she definitely gets like a couple of copies of this bit of paper. Like,
just in case.
Yeah, you know, like
Can
when
we
you
make
when you
another
order
copy?
extra copies of like birth certificates, she's doing that.
Oh no, believe me, that is a requirement, not a like nice thing to have. You need
Oh,
like
yeah.
3 or 4 copies because you have to
She
send
gets-
shit away all the time.
She gets several copies of that just for herself, let alone however many copies she needs, because someone's gonna try rip them up is what's going through her head.
Yeah.
I'm
If
sure
you
that
know
they
anything-
need a generous donation to the Sept on their way out.
How much money you got?
Samuel.
Oh, I don't know. How much money do I have? Oh, wait, I know this answer because I just got a bunch.
Mara doesn't have her own money. She hasn't had her own money for quite a while.
Yeah.
Since she stopped
On
spending
me.
jobs.
So, I mean, like, I don't think this is the full height of my wealth, but I do have like 26 gold dragons and 145 silver stags on me.
Oh yeah, if you gave them a dragon, they would be well happy.
Sure. Yeah.
That
it's
would be a
happy day.
generous
They can have a
donation.
dragon.
That
No,
would
I
be a
think that's
generous
it's
donation.
perfect. And Samuel is a generous person.
Nice. Oh, all right. So, Samuel, how do you want to go about finding out your information?
Ooh, yeah, I mean, that's a good question. So, does Costain stay with him? Like, do they have rooms at the same inn? What's sort of how have we set this up?
You certainly can, if you wanted that to be the case. If not, you could find other quarters to stay in. What do you reckon?
No, I think that's actually preferable. I think he would go
Sure.
first to Costain,
Mhm.
because Costain told him that he might be able to introduce him to someone in Old Town, right?
Oh, so you'd like Costain to try and introduce you to
Somebody, yeah,
a possible
somebody interesting.
pretender. Okay. Oh man. What? Who did you? Who did you
Who do
want to? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anyone
Here's
interesting.
what I want. I would
What
love.
do you want?
I would love. What I want is to. I want to find somebody who's in the Golden Army on the DL.
Sure.
That's what I'm looking for. Like, like I imagine that the Golden Company, they keep Old Town would be a place where they keep some of their agents to spread messages throughout the Reach, and keep an eye on like what's going on there in Old Town. So they've got to have allies, right? And I feel like they would have allies in Old Town. So that's what he's looking for, is somebody he can have a chat with, and perhaps like convince them to speak with him.
Okay. And you're asking Costain this like legitimately, like kind of flat out?
Yeah, absolutely. This is Samuel's approach with Costain. Costain is way too ingrained in politics and too clever for me. And so I'm just going to be blunt with Costain, and hopefully he doesn't cross me, and I don't have to cross him. That's kind of his approach, for better or for worse.
Okay. So what I'd like you to do is make me a simple, so like a quick intrigue roll against his intrigue defense, as you ask him to find this person, this information, to see if there are. He doesn't know of anybody. That's what he says. He doesn't know of anybody. He's going to have to try and find out.
Yeah. Okay. You'll have to do some legwork. Oh wow, how's that such a terrible roll?
That's enough.
13.
That's enough.
Oh, good.
Yeah, with these quick intrigues, you just got to beat their intrigue defense.
Okay.
And they're for they're for smaller things like this, rather than trying to really convince someone of something kind of groundbreaking. This is just can you just do this favor for me, kind of stuff.
Yeah, set me up a meeting. That's basically my approach.
Okay. The meeting you have is by a seaside bawdy house, and it's typical Game of Thrones sex scene type stuff, kind of silk draped everywhere, men and women going between different rooms with partners and stuff like that. And you go into a kind of dark room towards the back. Costain peels back the curtain, invites you inside, and there's just there's a single woman in there, fully clothed, with the look of a sailor about her. And he closes the curtain.
Does Costain stay in with us, or does he step out?
He'll actually look to you to see what you want to do. What you want him to do.
Yeah. So there's this like moment of quiet between the two when they're looking at each other, and Samwell just smiles and he says, "My lord, it's up to you."
Well, I would be very interested to hear the story. And he kind of he looks over to the woman. And she looks to be of kind of Lyseni descent.
Okay.
She's got some towards the tips. She's got some of the kind of colouring that you get from some sailors across the Narrow Sea, some of those bright kind of turquoises and stuff. Some of it just kind of fading out a little bit now. But she's sat down with a little goblet of wine. A bit of Arbor Red, probably. And as the two of you sit down, she pours you out a couple of...
Sam will sit down. He'll nod his head, accept the wine, and say, "Thank you. I'm Samuel Tarley. What can I call you?"
"My name's Ezra," she says.
Ezra. That's a beautiful name.
"And apparently I am here to tell you a story. A story of how we got Sir Harris Ball out of Summerhall."
There's a big, he can't hold back his smile at that because Samuel knows Harris. And that sounds very juicy. Okay, so he takes a big juicy sip of wine and sets it down. And he says, "Well, I love a good story, Ezra. So please, I would be very grateful."
The bit she tells you is from the coast, just round to the east of the Will River, along the south of the mountains, south of Summerhall. A small ship, lanterns all blackened out, sailing at midnight across the Sea of Dawn along the coast, the Cape of Cape Wrath, careful to avoid any of the patrolling watchmen of the holdfasts across the bays. And from there, bouncing over the stepstones to Tyrosh, where little Lord Harris and his family were kept safe by a certain Aegon Rivers.
It sounds like quite the adventure. Where is Harris now?
By my reckoning, if the winds are good, they will arrive at the Tor by now, camped on the northern coast of Dawn, ready to take back what is rightfully theirs.
His eyes flash aside to Costain, looking for any sort of reaction from Costain.
Costain is, as you rightly know, a very good, cautious diplomat, and there is there's a poker face. He's not giving away anything at this point, and he's letting that sit. So he's in a way, you might think that tactics-wise, this is him trying to be like, you're on thin ice here with this sailor, that she could basically be confessing, or she could be, talking to kind of comrades.
Mm-hmm.
And he's letting her stew a little bit over that.
Samwell doesn't have the same game face that Lord Costain does, because he's been hunting. He's sent letters. He's talked to people over the past month or so, couple of months, and he's heard nothing so far. And so this is the sort of news that he's been hoping to hear. He's a bit surprised to hear that there's a host landed. And so he takes that in, takes another sip of wine, and he takes out 2 gold dragons and places them on the table. And then he takes out 2 more gold dragons and he places them on top of the previous 2, building a stack of 4. And he looks at Ezra and he says, "How would one deliver a message quickly to where they have landed, to Lord Harris Ball?"
She eyes the golden glint of the coins on the table, and she looks up at you and she says, "For 4 gold dragons, I deliver that message myself."
And he smiles and he says, as he slides the pile towards her, "The message is simple, my friend. Tell Lord Harris Ball that in the past 5 years, war machines have been built at Horn Hill, and House Tarley remembers the Black."
That is an excellent place to finish up tonight's session. Just a little treason. It's a treat. Oh, thank you so much, friends, I know we're all tired, but a very juicy fruit session, as per usual. I need to write that down, otherwise I'll forget it. What did you say?
I'll type it up.
Nice.
I'll send it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Because I definitely want that to crop up again. Man. So, bit of steel. Harris Ball. There's Mera red wine. And someone who looks suspiciously like Enzo Sal have landed in Northern Dawn and are ready to rock the Seven Kingdoms. Oof. That was it. That was my whole game plan for the session. And then thankfully I spoke to B earlier and she was like, we want to talk to the High Sept, and I was like, do you know what? We're doing it now. Fuck it. Yeah. All right. There's a lot of what happens to Alistair in chat. It's coming. Don't worry. Yeah, we know. Yeah. A little truth in this episode was full of it. It's very, very true. And Susie, yeah, you're right. You got so excited the webcam just decided to just go completely out of focus. You didn't quite kill Mara Martell. Didn't quite do it. All right.
I'll get him.
Nice. You got to kill him slow. He deserves it.
Well, we've also got to think that the man is out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And without a name. Somewhere. Do you know what? Let me into a little secret. Is I don't know who it is. I think we're just gonna find out when it happens. You know?
Oh shit!
I think it's just gonna be now's the moment. Shunk. Off comes the face. I think that's how it's gonna be. Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, let's wrap up and do little shout outs and cool stuff like that you wanna shout out. Don, have you got anything? Where can we find you on the internet? And if you don't want to talk about your Patreon, I'm gonna slap you when I next see you.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, I guess. I post there sometimes. Sometimes it's nonsense, but if you want to follow me on Donathan Fry on Twitter, I have a Patreon as well. You can find it off of my Twitter on my website, where I run lots of different games. I have some 4 current ongoing campaigns, and when I open up new seats, or seats open up, or I start a new campaign, anybody who supports me, even for $1 on Patreon, they have the first chance to grab one of those seats. So if you want to play with me, that's a good way to do it. And what else? We talked about Fallout earlier. I'm also working on, and this is really exciting to me too, the last of this series of Dark Matter books that are coming out for D&D in space. And this last one is very heavily inspired by like Mass Effect. That's the direction I'm taking it. And it's a big old campaign book and campaign setting book. It's going to be really, really chunky. And I've been having a lot of fun because I love in role-playing games, I love like the companions you make, the relationships you make with other characters, and how those can have a big impact and key moments in the story. And you don't write a lot of adventures or see a lot of adventures written like that. So to write adventures with that in mind has been super, super fun.
Yeah, like those side quests and companion quests and stuff.
Companion quests. Yeah. I'm having a blast with, and like the kind of like sliding scale of rating of like, how much do they like you? What would they be willing to do for you? Will they betray you? All of that sort of thing. Kind of mechanizing that has been a blast for me. So I just finished a big old chunk of that book today.
Nice one, man. Take it easy now for a couple of days at least. I'll be messaging Edelin, making sure you are. Nice one, dude. Nice one. Oh, we didn't even type your name. Hang on. There we go. Bam. Thank you very much, my friend. It has been a blast, as per usual. P, what else are you up to next week? What you got coming up?
Next week, hopefully one of these Game Boy mods will be happening next week whenever my packages arrive and my screwdriver's in. We'll see.
When your screwdriver's in?
Yeah, you need tri-wing screwdrivers to open up the back of Nintendo stuff. The Phillips screws are all on the inside, which isn't helpful.
Oh.
Then Monday, I think, barring anything going wrong, we're starting The Walking Dead, the Michonne series, because I've nearly finished all the way through that, because I'm hoping it will stretch out long enough until the Mass Effect remakes are out in May, so I can start playing those, because I never played the originals. And everyone keeps telling me I have to play Mass Effect, so I'm doing it.
You're in for a treat and a terrible ending.
Great, I love that. That's like all of me with RPGs. It's great. And then Susie and I will be back doing Pew Pews on Tuesday. So you should come and check that out, because we're probably going to scream about this episode a lot. We've kind of joked that that's turned into after the fire, like midway through the Siege stream. And Friday is probably going to be Pokemon night. So if you want to watch me play Pokemon and pay channel points to see a giant Pikachu plushie appear on stream, that's a thing.
That's channel points for that? Okay.
my chat wanted channel points so that they could make Nuggets the Pikachu show up.
Is his name Nuggets?
The people what I called it Nuggets, because we got the whole chicken nugget cult going on my channel, which James and Stu started. So thanks for that, guys. I think that's everything really. I'm going to be working on the coming soon for the spy game. The
coming soon. That's what we're kind of. That's what it's officially called. That's what it's officially called. The coming soon. Yeah. Rising
so
soon.
that
right?
should be fun. I look forward to Susie kind of being my boss on that. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything else. I'm also doing. I'm sure Jason won't mind me mentioning this. I'm doing a bit of editing work on Arkan, which is a cyberpunk setting by the wonderful Jason, who is here, and the awesome Kiana Shaw. So go check out their Twitters for that.
Sweet.
Plugs.
Nice one. Thanks so much, friend. Susie.
You know that meme that's like everything happens so much? That was today. Oh boy. I'm going to be screaming about this episode for a while. Do not regret it. Not one tiny bit. That was totally worth it to like chuck that spear right into Marin's back and see him like flopping around on his horse. And then
Marin.
in the future, when I come back and I'll be like, surprise bitch, you remember me? And then I'll like stab him in the shoulder where I stabbed him previously and be like, get wrecked. But I have so many questions. I have so many questions. Where's Nikos? Where's my boy? Hope he's okay. But yeah, so I'm Susie. Hi, I do video games and stuff sometimes on my channel. On Mondays, I play Crusader Queens, in which I play Crusader Kings with Sam, James, and Tom. Sam shows us all up looking gorgeous in drag, and we're all gremlins getting conquered by Sweden. Freaking, she's over here with the tiara. Tuesdays is Tactical Tuesday with me and V, where we play Siege. Wednesdays, I am back here for Hexcrawl, which is our spy game actual play, where we play this game that we did make, which you can buy off of our shop at blackcatsgamingshop.com. Boom, seamless plug. Thursdays, I play fighting games. We are currently on Street Fighter 5. This week, we will be opening a lobby for folks who want to play. So it won't just be me and Kurt kicking each other's asses back and forth, me slightly kicking his ass a little bit more than he kicks mine, but that's okay. On Fridays, it is Freebooting Friday, in which Sam, James, lovely Mrs. Webby, and I are pirates. And this last week, we were on a freaking tear. We sunk like 6 ships. We were on it last week. So look forward to this week where we don't do that.
Where we're crap. We just had a good instance, I think, yesterday.
I think so. But yeah, other than that, check out, if you haven't already, the coming soon, the question mark, which is now in our Discord. For more information, coming soon. TM.
Yeah. Now you all know why in Freebooting Fridays James has so many pirate facts.
Yep.
It's because he's been working on it.
He's been working very hard, bless him.
Yeah. It will.
But also, now you know how good our on the horizon hint has been this whole time. None of y'all have picked up on it, but
see, we've been working.
There have been so many hints. even my Twitter post, I hid some clues in the background if anyone was paying attention.
I think someone did, right? I think I remember
somebody got it. And I think Susie and I just went through and liked all the comments so that nobody could tell which ones we were really onto.
Yeah, that's good. It's decent. But yeah, so we just launched our little teaser for the upcoming project we're working on, the upcoming game we're working on at the moment. You'll see more of that via our socials at Follow Black Cats or Black Cats Gaming on Facebook. You can head over to buy the spy game right now at blackcatsgamingshop.com. You can get PDFs of the book. You can even get the hardcover copy of the core rulebook and the GM screen, as well as the 2 mission booklets as well, which give you a couple of really cool missions to play through if you don't want to put them together first of all. They're good one-shots, or you can mix them up into your own campaign as well. Next time we're going to be live on this channel will be on Monday, where I'll be getting up into drag and getting my ass whooped by Sweden when we play Crusader Queens, where I mix up 2 of my favourite things, drag and grand strategy. I don't know why those 2 things have gone together, but I needed something to do once RuPaul Drag Race UK had finished, so there we go. So that's what we'll be doing, so check us out when we're playing that. James and Tom will be joining us for that again. And hopefully we'll all go to war against Sweden and I won't be subjugated, but I'm fully prepared to take off the tiara and set it aside. It's not going to be that bad. They can subjugate me, and then once there's a whole succession thing. I think I've got it figured out anyway. Then on Wednesdays we'll be back with Hexcrawl, which is our spy game actual play campaign. I just bombed Noir and Susie, so Susie, I'm just bullying Susie via games at this point.
I just remembered that happened, and I'm like, oh yeah, they're gonna find Athrina's corpse because she's very squishy.
So they've got to crawl out of a blown up hacker bunker deep in the fictional Eastern European wilderness. And then we'll be back again the week after, as we'll be I'll be playing with Don in one of his Patreon games, our Dark Sun game, which I very much enjoy. I get to be a big praying mantis man. It's brilliant. That is it for us tonight, friends. Susie, you're usually good with this. Is there anyone we should raid? Have you set this up? Nope. Okay, cool. No, that's fine. We could just go. It's fine.
Okay.
Saturday, not many people are on. So thanks for joining us again, friends. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. I think we're going to work something out with Don. I think we're playing more Dark Sun this month. It'll be a bit of a mid-season break because we're at episode 5 now as well. So stay tuned. We'll keep you up to date on Discord and on our Twitter and everything as well. But thank you for joining us as usual. Have a good week if we don't see you in the week when we play the rest of our games. Take care and have a good one. Bye-bye.